Hi, my name is Chris. Welcome to my video about why September 2025. According to astrologers, the ancient observatory stood silent against the midnight sky, its copper dome reflecting the silvery light of a crescent moon. Inside, master astrologer Elena traced her fingers across star charts that seemed to pulse with an otherworldly energy. September 2025 was approaching, and the celestial alignments she witnessed made her hands tremble with anticipation. This was no ordinary month in the cosmic calendar. The planets were arranging themselves in patterns not seen for centuries, creating portals of transformation that would touch every soul walking the earth. Elena's apprentice, Marcus, entered the chamber carrying scrolls from astrologers worldwide. Each message confirmed what Elena had discovered. The partial solar eclipse on September 21st would act as a cosmic reset button, while Saturn's direct motion in Pisces and the autumn equinox would create a trinity of change. But there was something more, something the ancient texts had whispered about but never fully revealed. The veil between dimensions would thin, allowing the Zodiac constellations themselves to channel their pure essence directly into human consciousness. As Elena gazed through her telescope, she saw it. Beginning already, the constellation of Aries blazed brighter than usual, its stars pulsing with crimson fire. She knew that those born under the ram would feel this energy first, like warriors awakening to a battle cry from the cosmos itself. The universe was preparing to speak, and September 2025 would be its megaphone. For Aries, the month would arrive like a phoenix rising from cosmic ashes. The ram's natural leadership qualities would be amplified tenfold as Mars, their ruling planet, formed a powerful trine with Jupiter in Gemini. This alignment would occur precisely on September 7th, creating what astrologers call a courage portal. Aries individuals would find themselves standing at crossroads they had avoided for years. Career opportunities that seemed impossible would suddenly materialize, as if the universe itself was clearing obstacles from their path. The eclipse on September 21st would fall in their house of partnerships, forcing Aries to confront the delicate balance between independence and connection. Many would experience profound revelations about relationships that had grown stagnant. Some would end partnerships that no longer served their highest good, while others would deepen bonds through vulnerable conversations they had been avoiding. The cosmic energy would feel like electricity running through their veins, making it impossible to maintain facades or half-truths. Elena watched as the constellation shifted, revealing hidden stars that ancient astronomers had never documented. These celestial bodies carried messages specifically for September 2025, prophecies written in starlight that spoke of Aries individuals discovering latent psychic abilities. Many would report vivid dreams that predicted future events, while others would develop an uncanny ability to read the emotions of those around them. This spiritual awakening would not be gentle. It would arrive like a thunderstorm, washing away old beliefs and leaving fertile ground for new wisdom to grow. Taurus, the steadfast bull, would experience September 2025 as a complete restructuring of their material world. Venus, their ruling planet, would dance through Virgo during the first half of the month, creating what astrologers termed the harvest blessing. This wasn't merely about financial gain, though many Taurians would indeed see unexpected windfalls. The true gift would be a fundamental shift in how they perceived value itself. The eclipse would illuminate their house of creativity and pleasure, awakening artistic talents that had been dormant since childhood. Taurus individuals who had spent years in practical careers would suddenly feel compelled to paint, write, or create music. The universe would speak to them through beauty, and they would become translators of this cosmic language. Some would leave corporate jobs to pursue artistic ventures, finding that September 2025 gave them the courage to trust their creative instincts. But the month would also bring challenges to their famous stubbornness. Uranus, continuing its long journey through Taurus, would create unexpected disruptions that forced flexibility. Relationships that Taurus thought were permanent would shift dramatically. Some would discover that their partner had been hiding significant truths, while others would realize they themselves had been living behind masks of their own creation. The cosmic energy would demand authenticity, stripping away the comfortable illusions that Taurus had used as security blankets. Elena noticed something extraordinary in her observations. The Taurus constellation seemed to be communicating with Earth's ley lines, those invisible energy channels that crisscross our planet. Taurus individuals would find themselves drawn to specific geographical locations in September 2025, places where the Earth's energy was particularly strong. These pilgrimages, whether across the world or just to a local park, would result in profound spiritual downloads. Many would report hearing the Earth itself speaking to them, sharing ancient wisdom about sustainability and harmony. Gemini would experience September 2025 as a mental renaissance. Mercury, their quicksilver ruler, would station direct on September 15th after a retrograde period. But this wasn't just any Mercury direct motion. It would occur while in exact conjunction with the asteroid Pallas Athena, the cosmic symbol of wisdom and strategy. Gemini minds, already quick and adaptable, would operate at unprecedented levels of clarity and innovation. The eclipse would activate their house of home and family, bringing long-buried family secrets to light. Gemini individuals would become the family detectives, uncovering genealogical mysteries and healing generational traumas. Some would discover unknown relatives or learn about family gifts and talents that had been hidden for generations. The dual nature of Gemini would be especially pronounced, with many feeling literally split between their past and future selves. Communication, Gemini's superpower, would reach telepathic levels in September 2025. Many would find themselves finishing other people's sentences with uncanny accuracy, or knowing who was calling before checking their phone. Writers born under Gemini would channel prose that seemed to come from beyond themselves, while speakers would find audiences hanging on their every word. The cosmic download would be so intense that some Geminis would need to practice grounding techniques to avoid becoming overwhelmed by the constant stream of information. The constellation of Gemini would appear to split and merge repeatedly throughout September, creating a visual representation of integration. This cosmic dance would mirror the internal process Geminis would undergo, learning to unite all aspects of their multifaceted personalities. The universe would teach them that their perceived inconsistency was actually their greatest strength, allowing them to bridge worlds that others saw as separate. Cancer, the sensitive crab, would find September 2025 to be a month of emotional alchemy. The moon, their ruling celestial body, would undergo multiple significant aspects throughout the month, including a powerful full moon in Pisces on September 7th that would amplify their already profound intuitive abilities. But this wasn't just about feeling more deeply. Cancer individuals would learn to transmute emotional energy into tangible healing power. The eclipse would illuminate their communication sector, giving voice to feelings they had kept locked away in their shells. Many Cancers would write books, start podcasts, or begin teaching, sharing their emotional wisdom with a world desperately in need of their nurturing perspective. The universe would show them that their sensitivity, often seen as a weakness, was actually a superpower in disguise. Family dynamics would shift dramatically for Cancer. In September 2025, children who had been distant would suddenly seek their guidance, while parents who had been controlling would finally respect boundaries. The cosmic energy would create a rebalancing of family power structures. With Cancer, individuals finally taking their rightful place as the emotional leaders of their clans. Some would discover they had healing abilities that ran in their family line, gifts that September's energy would activate. Elena observed the Cancer constellation pulsing with a silvery blue light, reminiscent of moonlight on ocean waves. What? This celestial phenomenon would manifest as Cancers developing a profound connection to water. Many would find themselves drawn to oceans, lakes, or rivers during September 2025, where they would receive visions and messages. Some would discover they could influence water's molecular structure through intention, while others would use water as a scrying tool to glimpse future possibilities. Leo, the majestic lion, would roar into September 2025 with unprecedented creative fire. The sun, their ruling star, would form multiple beneficial aspects throughout the month. But the most significant would be its opposition to Saturn on September 8th. This cosmic face-off would challenge Leos to manifest their dreams in concrete reality, no longer content with mere potential. The eclipse would activate their house of resources and values, fundamentally shifting how Leos perceived their worth. Many would realize they had been undervaluing their talents, accepting less than they deserved in both love and money. September 2025 would bring the courage to demand more, to step fully into their royal nature. Some Leos would launch businesses that had been mere dreams, while others would finally pursue the spotlight they had been avoiding out of false modesty. performance would take on a sacred quality for Leos during this month. Whether on stage, in boardrooms, or simply in daily life, they would understand that their self-expression was a form of cosmic service. The universe would reveal that their need for attention wasn't ego, but rather a divine directive to inspire others through their radiance. Many Leos would develop healing abilities that worked through joy and laughter, discovering they could literally brighten someone's energy field through their presence. The Leo constellation would blaze with golden fire throughout September, occasionally sending what appeared to be solar flares toward Earth. These cosmic emanations would activate the solar plexus chakra in Leo individuals, enhancing their personal power and magnetism. Some would report that their body temperature actually increased during this period, while others would find that their presence alone could warm a cold room. This wasn't metaphorical. September 2025 would grant Leos the ability to manipulate energy in ways that defied conventional physics. Virgo would experience September 2025 as their cosmic coronation, with the sun traveling through their sign for most of the month and Mercury, their ruler, emerging from retrograde shadow. Virgos would feel like they were finally seeing clearly after years of looking through foggy glass. But this clarity would extend beyond the mental realm into spiritual sight. The eclipse would occur in their opposite sign, highlighting relationships and partnerships. Virgos would discover that their tendency toward criticism had been a misdirected form of love, and September would teach them how to transform judgment into discernment. Many would attract soulmate connections, not the fairy tale kind, but the real, raw, transformative partnerships that challenged them to grow. Others would find that existing relationships deepened as they learned to accept imperfection as a form of perfection itself. Health and healing would become Virgo's superpower in September 2025. Many would discover they had the ability to diagnose illness through intuition, seeing energy blockages in others' bodies as clearly as physical symptoms. Some would leave traditional careers to study alternative healing modalities, while others would revolutionize their current health practices with cosmic downloads about nutrition and wellness. The universe would reveal that Virgo's attention to detail was actually a form of sacred service. Elena watched as the Virgo constellation seemed to reorganize itself, its stars moving into increasingly perfect geometric patterns. This cosmic perfection would manifest in Virgo individuals developing an almost supernatural ability to organize chaos. But this wouldn't be limited to physical spaces. Many Virgos would find they could organize energy itself, clearing negative vibrations from rooms and even helping others restructure their thought patterns. September 2025 would reveal that Virgo's gift for order was actually a form of magic. Libra would find September 2025 to be a month of radical rebalancing. With the autumn equinox occurring during their season on September 22nd, just one day after the eclipse, Libras would experience a cosmic recalibration that affected every area of their lives. Venus, their ruler, would be particularly active, creating aspects that would challenge Libras to redefine beauty, harmony, and justice. The eclipse would fall in their house of service and health, revolutionizing how Libras approached their daily routines and work life. Many would realize they had been sacrificing their well-being for the sake of keeping peace. And September would bring the courage to establish boundaries. Some would leave toxic work environments, while others would transform their current situations by standing up for themselves in ways that initially felt uncomfortable, but ultimately proved liberating. Relationships, always central to Libra's experience, would undergo profound transformation. The cosmic energy would reveal that true balance didn't mean giving equal weight to all opinions, but rather standing firm in truth while remaining open to dialogue. Many Libras would find themselves in positions of mediation, but with a new twist. They would develop the ability to see the energetic threads connecting conflicting parties, literally visualizing the karmic ties that created discord. This sight would allow them to facilitate healing at soul levels. The constellation of Libra would appear to pulse with the rainbow light throughout September, each color representing a different aspect of balance. This chromatic phenomenon would manifest as Libras developing synesthesia-like abilities, seeing emotions as colors and hearing thoughts as music. This sensory expansion would enhance their natural diplomatic skills, allowing them to understand others at levels beyond words. September 2025 would transform Libras from peacemakers into peace creators, actively generating harmony rather than simply maintaining it. Scorpio would plunge into September 2025 like a phoenix diving into transformative flames. With Pluto, their modern ruler, preparing for its final shift into Aquarius later in the year, September would serve as an initiation period. The cosmic energy would demand that Scorpios release the last vestiges of old patterns, particularly those related to control and manipulation. The eclipse would activate their house of friendships and future visions, showing Scorpios that their intensity could be channeled into collective transformation rather than personal power plays. Many would find themselves drawn to group endeavors that seemed to choose them rather than the other way around. Secret societies and mystery schools would open their doors to Scorpio individuals, recognizing them as natural initiates into cosmic mysteries. Death and rebirth, Scorpio's eternal theme, would take on literal dimensions in September 2025. Many Scorpios would report near-death experiences or profound meditation states that allowed them to journey beyond the veil. But rather than being frightening, these experiences would be revelatory, showing them that death was simply another doorway. Some would develop mediumship abilities, while others would become guides for those transitioning from this life. The universe would reveal that Scorpio's fascination with death was actually a calling to serve as cosmic midwives. Elena observed the Scorpio constellation pulsing with deep crimson and purple light, occasionally sending what looked like energetic stingers toward Earth. These cosmic transmissions would activate dormant DNA in Scorpio individuals, awakening abilities that mainstream science couldn't explain. Many would develop the power to transmute negative energy into positive, literally feeding on darkness to create light. September 2025 would reveal that Scorpio's reputation for darkness was a misunderstanding. They were actually alchemists of shadow, transforming poison into medicine. Sagittarius would gallop into September 2025 with arrows aimed at impossible targets. Jupiter, their ruling planet, would be particularly generous, creating aspects that expanded not just opportunity but consciousness itself. The cosmic energy would challenge Sagittarians to embody their highest philosophy rather than simply preaching it. The eclipse would illuminate their house of career and public standing, catapulting many Sagittarians into positions of influence they hadn't sought but couldn't refuse. The universe would make it clear that their role as truth seekers was needed on a larger stage. Some would become spiritual teachers seemingly overnight, while others would find their casual social media posts going viral with messages that resonated globally. September 2025 would show them that their voice carried further than they ever imagined. Travel, always important to Sagittarius, would take on interdimensional qualities. Many would report out-of-body experiences that felt more real than physical journeys. Some would discover they could bilocate, appearing in multiple places simultaneously, while others would develop the ability to access the Akashic records, the cosmic library of all human experience. The universe would reveal that Sagittarius's wanderlust was actually a soul memory of existence beyond physical limitations. The Sagittarius constellation would appear to shoot actual arrows of light throughout September, each one carrying encoded information from distant galaxies. These cosmic messages would download directly into Sagittarian consciousness, providing answers to philosophical questions that had plagued humanity for millennia. But the information would come with responsibility. Sagittarians would need to learn to translate cosmic truth into language that others could understand without being overwhelmed. September 2025 would transform them from seekers into finders and from finders into sharers of cosmic wisdom. Capricorn would climb into September 2025 with the determination of a mountain goat ascending an impossible peak. Saturn, their ruling planet, would be particularly active, but not in the restrictive way typically associated with the taskmaster planet. Instead, Saturn would act as a cosmic architect, helping Capricorns build structures that could withstand any storm. The eclipse would activate their house of higher learning and philosophy, challenging Capricorns to expand beyond their traditional pragmatism. Many would discover that their practical nature was actually a form of earth magic, the ability to manifest thought into form with unusual precision. Some would literally build new realities, creating communities and organizations that seemed to spring from nothing but intention and will. The universe would show them that their ambition wasn't selfish, but rather a divine directive to create lasting change. Time, always a Capricorn obsession, would become fluid in September 2025. Many would report experiences of time dilation, accomplishing weeks of work in hours or experiencing hours of revelation in moments. Some would develop the ability to access past and future selves, gaining wisdom from versions of themselves across timelines. This temporal flexibility would revolutionize how Capricorns approached long-term planning, as they could literally see the outcomes of different choices. Elena watched as the Capricorn constellation seemed to crystallize, its stars forming geometric patterns that resembled sacred architecture. This cosmic structure would manifest as Capricorns developing the ability to see the underlying patterns of reality, the mathematical codes that governed existence. Many would become sacred geometrists, using ancient symbols to heal and transform. September 2025 would reveal that Capricorn's desire for structure wasn't limitation, but rather the recognition that form was necessary for spirit to express itself in the material world. Aquarius would feel September 2025 as an electric awakening, like lightning striking their consciousness repeatedly. With Uranus, their modern ruler, creating multiple explosive aspects throughout the month, Aquarians would find their already unconventional nature amplified to cosmic proportions. But this wasn't rebellion for its own sake. It was revolution with purpose. The eclipse would illuminate their house of shared resources and transformation, showing Aquarians that their vision of the future required them to first transform their relationship with power. Many would discover they had been playing small, hiding their genuine revolutionary ideas behind a facade of detached intellectualism. September would bring the courage to fully embody their role as cosmic change agents. Some would invent technologies that seemed to come from the future, while others would develop social systems that revolutionized how humans related to each other. Community, always important to Aquarius, would take on galactic dimensions. Many Aquarians would report contact with extraterrestrial intelligence, not through dramatic encounters, but through subtle downloads of information that expanded their understanding of humanity's place in the cosmos. Some would become channels for collective consciousness, able to tap into the thoughts and feelings of large groups to facilitate healing. The universe would reveal that Aquarius's feeling of not belonging on Earth was because they were meant to help Earth evolve beyond its current limitations. The Aquarius constellation would pulse with electric blue light throughout September, occasionally sending what appeared to be data streams toward Earth. These cosmic transmissions would activate the crown chakras of Aquarian individuals, opening channels to higher dimensional intelligence. Many would develop telepathic abilities that worked through technology, able to communicate through computers and phones without typing or speaking. September 2025 would transform Aquarians from observers of humanity into architects of human evolution. Pisces would swim into September 2025 through cosmic waters that dissolved all boundaries. With Neptune, their modern ruler, in their own sign and Saturn completing its journey through Pisces, September would bring both dissolution and structure to their naturally fluid nature. This paradox wouldn't confuse Pisces, but rather complete them. The eclipse would activate their house of partnerships, showing Pisces that their tendency to merge with others could be consciously directed rather than unconsciously experienced. Many would discover they were natural healers who had been absorbing others' pain without realizing it. September would teach them to transform this unconscious absorption into conscious healing, turning their sensitivity into a superpower. Some would develop the ability to literally take on others' illnesses and transmute them, while others would learn to heal through dream work, entering others' subconscious to resolve trauma. Art and creativity would become portals to other dimensions for Pisces in September 2025. Many would create works that seemed to come from beyond themselves, channeling beauty that could heal simply through observation. Musicians born under Pisces would compose pieces that induced altered states of consciousness, while visual artists would paint portals that viewers could meditate into. The universe would reveal that Pisces' creativity wasn't entertainment, but rather a form of dimensional bridge building. Elena observed the Pisces constellation undulating like actual fish swimming through cosmic waters. These celestial movements would manifest as Pisces individuals, developing the ability to navigate multiple dimensions simultaneously. Many would report living parallel lives, aware of other versions of themselves making different choices. This multi-dimensional awareness wouldn't be confusing, but rather enriching, allowing them to draw wisdom from infinite versions of themselves. September 2025 would reveal that Pisces' confusion about identity wasn't weakness, but rather an accurate perception of the fluid nature of consciousness itself. As September 2025 progressed, the boundaries between the zodiac signs would begin to blur. The cosmic energy wouldn't just affect individuals based on their sun signs, but would create a collective awakening that transcended astrological categories. Elena noticed this in her observatory, as the constellations themselves seemed to communicate with each other, creating patterns of light that told stories of unity rather than separation. The eclipse on September 21st would serve as a cosmic reset for all of humanity. As the moon passed between Earth and Sun, it would create a moment of darkness that wasn't absence, but rather potential. In that darkness, every human would have the opportunity to release old patterns and embrace new possibilities. Many would report experiencing all 12 zodiac energies simultaneously during the eclipse, understanding for the first time that they contained the entire cosmos within themselves. The autumn equinox on September 22nd would seal the transformations that September brought. As day and night balanced perfectly, humanity would understand that duality was an illusion. Light and dark, masculine and feminine, material and spiritual, all were simply different expressions of the same cosmic unity. This understanding wouldn't be intellectual but visceral, felt in every cell of every body. Elena documented these cosmic events with growing excitement, knowing that September 2025 would be remembered as a turning point in human evolution. The zodiac signs weren't just symbols, but rather archetypal energies that existed within every human. September would activate all of these energies simultaneously, creating humans who were more complete, more integrated, more cosmically aware. The influence on human destiny would be profound and lasting. Career paths that had seemed set in stone would suddenly shift as people discovered their true callings. Relationships that had been based on need would transform into partnerships based on growth. Health issues that had seemed chronic would resolve as people understood the energetic roots of disease. Financial systems would begin to shift as humanity recognized that abundance was a birthright rather than something to be earned through suffering. But perhaps the most significant change would be in humanity's relationship with the cosmos itself. September 2025 would dissolve the illusion that humans were separate from the universe, revealing instead that every human was a unique expression of cosmic consciousness. The zodiac signs would no longer be seen as external influences, but rather as internal energies that could be consciously accessed and directed. As Elena looked through her telescope one final time that September, she saw something that made her gasp. The stars were rearranging themselves, forming new constellations that had never existed before. These weren't random formations, but rather responses to humanity's elevated consciousness. The cosmos was literally reshaping itself to reflect humanity's evolution. The ancient texts had spoken of this time, when the heavens and earth would merge, when humans would remember their divine nature. September 2025 wasn't just an important month. It was the month when humanity would begin its transformation from a species that looked up at the stars to a species that recognized itself as made of stars. Every person would be affected differently, yet all would be part of the same cosmic symphony. The accountant who discovered she could heal with her hands. The teacher who realized he could see auras. The mother who found she could communicate telepathically with her children. The teenager who developed the ability to manifest thought into reality. All were part of the same awakening. The zodiac signs would continue to influence human experience, but in a new way. Rather than being bound by their sun signs' limitations, humans would learn to consciously access all 12 zodiac energies. Someone born as a practical Capricorn could tap into Pisces' intuition when needed. A sensitive Cancer could access Aries' courage in moments requiring bold action. The zodiac would become a toolkit rather than a prison. September 2025 would also mark the beginning of what astrologers would later call the old age of separation, where humans felt disconnected from each other and the cosmos would officially end. The new age wouldn't be about transcending human experience, but rather about fully embodying it while maintaining cosmic consciousness. Children born after September 2025 would be noticeably different. They would come into the world with abilities that previous generations had to work to develop. Telepathy, energy, healing, manifestation, and dimensional travel would be as natural to them as walking and talking. They wouldn't need to be taught about their cosmic nature, because they would never forget it. The educational systems would need to evolve to accommodate these new humans. Schools would teach meditation alongside mathematics, energy work alongside science, and cosmic history alongside human history. The old paradigm of competition would give way to collaboration as humans understood that helping others evolve helped themselves evolve. Elena knew that her work as an astrologer would change after September 2025. Rather than predicting future events based on planetary positions, she would help people understand how to work with cosmic energies consciously. Astrology would evolve from a predictive tool to a navigational system for consciousness. The economic systems would also transform as humanity's values shifted. The pursuit of material wealth for its own sake would seem as antiquated as believing the earth was flat. Instead, humans would seek experiences, growth, and contribution. Money would still exist, but as a tool for exchange rather than a measure of worth. Many communities would develop alternative economic systems based on gift economies and resource sharing. Relationships would deepen as humans developed the ability to truly see each other. The masks and facades that people wore would become transparent, making authentic connection the only option. This transparency wouldn't be invasive, but rather liberating, as humans realized that their supposed flaws were actually what made them unique and valuable. The healing arts would experience a renaissance as the connection between consciousness and health became undeniable. Hospitals would integrate energy healers, intuitive diagnosticians, and consciousness counselors alongside traditional medical professionals. Disease would be understood as a communication from the body about energetic imbalances rather than random misfortune. Environmental consciousness would shift from intellectual understanding to felt experience. Humans would literally feel the Earth's pain when forests were destroyed or oceans polluted. This empathic connection would make environmental destruction impossible, as harming the Earth would be experienced as self-harm. New technologies would emerge that worked with natural systems rather than against them. The arts would flourish as creators channeled cosmic frequencies into form. Music would become healing medicine. Visual art would become portal creation, and literature would become consciousness transmission. Artists would be recognized as the shamans they had always been, bridging the worlds between form and formlessness. Science would expand its paradigm to include consciousness as a fundamental force of the universe. The old materialist worldview would crumble as scientists discovered that consciousness wasn't produced by the brain, but rather channeled through it. Quantum physics would merge with mysticism as the observer effect was understood to operate at all scales of existence. Religions would find their common ground as the direct experience of the divine became available to all. The need for intermediaries between humans and the cosmos would dissolve as everyone recognized their own divine nature. This wouldn't eliminate spiritual traditions, but rather deepen them, as practices would be based on direct experience rather than blind faith. As September 2825 drew to a close, humanity would look back at the month as the time when everything changed. Not through catastrophe or dramatic external events, but through an internal awakening that rippled out to transform every aspect of human existence. The prophecies of ages past would be fulfilled, not through a savior coming from outside, but through humanity saving itself by remembering what it had always been. Elena closed her journal on the final day of September 2025, knowing that her documentation of these cosmic events would serve future generations. But she also knew that words could never fully capture what had occurred. September 2025 wasn't just an important month for every zodiac sign. It was the month when humanity remembered that it was made of stars. That consciousness was its birthright, and that love was the force that held the universe together. The cosmic dance would continue. The planets would keep moving through their orbits, and the zodiac signs would maintain their archetypal influences. But humanity's relationship with these cosmic forces had fundamentally changed. No longer would humans be passive recipients of cosmic influence. They had become conscious co-creators with the universe, writing their own destinies in partnership with the stars. As the clock struck midnight on September 30th, 2025, marking the end of this transformative month, a new chapter in human evolution began. The age of cosmic consciousness had officially arrived, and every human, regardless of their zodiac sign, was part of this grand awakening. The stars had spoken, humanity had listened, and together, the importance of September 2025 would echo through generations, remembered not as the month when the world ended, but as the month when a new world began. A world where humans lived as the cosmic beings they had always been, where the zodiac served as a guide rather than a master, and where every individual recognized their unique role in the grand symphony of existence. The stars had aligned, the portals had opened, and humanity had walked through into its cosmic destiny.